Hi guys. So today we're going to paint this cute fuzzy penguin wearing pink bunny slippers and a pink bunny ear headband while he walks home at night uh, because this is what he wanted to wear and the mom was not going to fight with him anymore. So follow along, have fun. If you have any questions, shoot me one in the comments. Thanks. Lucky for you all, I just babbled a whole bunch, but my microphone wasn't on, so you don't have to hear it. Okay, so I taped it down, but I didn't tape it down to the table, so I can still move it if I want. I'm using washi tape, but you can use any kind of tape that you want. We are using Turquoise Blue by Dr. T.H. Martin's, Moss Rose by Dr. P.H. Martin to make our little fuzzy bunny slippers, and then Paynes Gray because it's on my palette and I had paint that I didn't want to waste. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to play with this and we're going to see what happens. So we're going to give it a bright blue sky because it's fun. You can put the horizon line if you got the outline off of drunkenauntwendy.com. Perfect. Use that. If you don't like the horizon line, you'd like it to be up higher or lower, also cool. Like if you want more sky, less snow, totally fine with me. I'm not going to come and yell at you if you didn't paint this exactly the way I wanted it or I did it. So we're going to get our brush wet and we're going to do a wash for the background in this turquoise blue. So it's going to be super bright and that's fine. That's kind of what I want. We are going to avoid our penguin though, because we don't want him to be blue or her. I don't actually know how to tell the sex of baby penguins. All right, so I put that color down and I'm being real fiddly right around the ears and stuff. And if you want to get a smaller brush for this part, feel free, but you do have a point on your brush that should be just fine. So we're doing a gradient wash down to our horizon, which means now we're going to get the brush wet. Tap it on the side of our water receptacle, tap it on a paper towel, and then using the color that's already there, start pulling it down. And being very careful around the ears and stuff because I don't want a, a hard line to form right around them. And for some reason now I have the baby penguin stuck on an iceberg song stuck in my head. Oh, it's not fun. Okay. And we're going to keep doing this. You want to work fast. If it doesn't give you the gradation that you want, it's okay. We'll come back in and we'll add more color. And now that it's wet, it'll do a lot of the work for us. Okay. So with horizons, you always want them darker at the top and then they're going to get lighter as they go to your horizon line. So I'm just getting more of this straight blue and I'm putting it on and I'm helping it move itself down. So it's a nice bright sky. And I will say this paper is not super great for wet on wet. I bet salt texture would look really cool on this. I want to make sure we kind of are still doing that gradation underneath that ear. And if you get it into the snow portion, that's fine because we're going to use snow. We're going to use blue to make the snow. Okay, so we have to let that area dry. If we start messing with anything in that area, it is going to be an absolute mess. So I have the blue and putting it up here, and I am getting water. And I am lightening up this blue. And we're just going to do some streaky little snow textures. because he might be on a glacier or he might be on an iceberg. We don't know where he is. But we're just going to give the appearance of some snow and a shadow under him. That'll probably be a good idea. We'll have the shadow go back this way though, so be a little darker on that side. And now I'm getting the brush wet and damping it, and then I'm going to kind of just move out this color. I want to leave fully white spots. And what I will probably do is use some bleed proof white when we're done, and we will do snow spatter to make it look like it is snowing, where our poor little baby penguin is just trying to wear his Easter outfit, and he's in his Easter bonnet and he's having the greatest time of his life. There we go. That part is done. So we're going to give it just a second while everything is drying. I'm going to clean up some of these edges. So I don't want it to look super stark white right around the edges of our critter. And I'm going into the horizon line to make it less harsh. I realize it kind of is all blending together, but I promise it will work in a minute. We just need to have a, you can't just leave the paper white and say it's snow, because it just won't look right, at least in my head. So I'm going to make it, there's a little darker snow sections right in here, and a little darker snow sections right in here. And I'm even going to get a little of the Paynes gray, just a little. I want it really light still. And I'm going to add in that shadow. It's only going to come under that 1 foot. And the ears would probably be off the paper, so we don't have to worry about doing the shadow for those bunny ears. I'm just adding in this shadow over here. And maybe some little shadow darky areas right in here. Hold your brush way out at the end and just let it dance, and you may have more fun. Okay. I think I'm going to be done with my big brush because everything else is a little bit more detailed. But I may use this sea sponge to give us the texture of a baby penguin, because baby penguins are like fuzzy, and I want it to look like a fuzzy little penguin. And the pink is really bright, so we should be able to come back in and go over top of it with the pink in a second. So let's take our 6 and let's just get in these wings and penguin body. And then we'll do his little face and his ears and all that fun stuff. Okay. So I'm getting some of the Paynes gray. I'm keeping it still pretty light, as you can see. I don't want it too dark. And I'm going to start on each side and pull it through. So it's darker on the sides. To give him that roundy, fat little penguin belly that I like. And we want it dark down here, in between the slippers. And on his little like haunches back here. You want to move quickly because this paper sucks up water and dries fast, which is okay. But penguins, their fur is very bloom-esque. So don't be afraid of blooms in this. In fact, if you wanted to just drop water in and see what happened, I'd totally be okay with that. And I think you'd have fun with it. So let's do that right now. If I had salt, we would do that too, but I still haven't remembered to bring salt to my studio. My brush is clean, but I am getting a little bit of the blue, and that's Payne's Gray has blue in it. And that's okay. It gives us some fun little variation in there. Let's go ahead and get those wings. You want them to be darker on the side. And then a little bit of the back of his head right here. And then he'll get really dark. It's okay. He's a cutie patootie. And then the other side, again, I never remember. We'll make this one a little darker because it's kind of hidden a little bit. And when we go back in with details, we can brighten this up a little. So we're going to see. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try this. I'm finding a clean section of sponge because I have lots of dirty sections of sponge. And I'm just going to start tapping down and seeing what pulls up to give him that like fluffy texture. Because the baby penguins have just these adorably cute little fuzzy bodies. Okay, I think that pulled up enough, and we'll let that dry. And while that's drying, we've lost the shadow over here. So let's go ahead and just put it back in. As things dry, they lighten up. And I went way overboard with that color. That's okay. It will dry later. We'll just spread the shadow out a little bit more. And we just cannot do these fuzzy bunny slippers for a few minutes. And with shadows, you do want them darker right where they touch. So right around here, definitely back in here. We can also fix this later as well. Okay, so we also have lost our horizon line, and so I'm going to add that back in. I wanted the sky to be like a gradation, but I think we're losing a lot. So we're going to go ahead and just try to do a fairly even wash back up. Sorry, if I start singing about the baby penguin stuck on the iceberg, I am so sorry. But it is the only thing that my brain is hearing right now. It's just that. And if I put it into your head, I am so sorry. There we go. I feel like that helps. I felt like we were losing some of the definition between our foreground and our sky. And it's always a bright sunny day in South in our Arctica or Australia where you can find these little guys. It got really dark right there, so let's make it consistently dark. Okay. All right, now we have the problem of everything is wet. So let's get a little brush, throw things on the floor, always fun. And let's start working on our penguin's facial features and avoid touching anything that's still wet. So I am using my 2 and pretty much straight Paynes Gray. And normally I leave the eyes for last. I don't know why. But today we'll do them first because I think that will help. I always get annoyed with myself when I leave the eyes for last because then I stress out about screwing them up when the eyes, when you've done all that work and then all you have left are the eyes. And it's like, oh my God, what if I mess this up? So, how about we do the eyes first? And if we mess up, we just stop, get another piece of paper. So, I'm using straight Paynes gray. I'm not diluting it at all. And I am just putting that in with my tiny brush, controlling it as much as I can, making sure to leave a highlight. But again, if I forget, it's okay because we have bleed proof white. All right. The beak is also going to have a little bit of a highlight on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the bottom beak first. There we go. I'm just putting in that straight Paynes gray. I'm giving him a little bit of a smile line that comes out. Okay. Just getting a little bit more water and more Paynes gray. Should have gotten more Paynes gray. This is almost out, which is fine. Now, the front of the beak is going to have just a tiny little highlight. So we're going to go over the top here and then down and then leave that little like highlight right there. Kind of looks like his mouth is open and he's like sticking his tongue out, or that he's a pug or something. So I messed that up. We're going to put a highlight right there after this dries, which is totally fine. All right, let's do his fuzzy head. And I'm just kind of scumbling the brush around and leaving a little line between the beak and the head because we'll lose all the color if we don't. I'm getting more Paynes gray and I'm coming around. And I may decide while I'm painting this that the Paynes gray is not doing it for me and I need actual black. So I feel like I'm not getting him as dark as I want him. So let's get rid of whatever that is right there. All right. Thankfully, everything is within reach. So I have some Dr. P.H. Martins in black. I just got a little bit. We're going to see if we can darken that section up a little bit. It just wasn't popping the way I wanted it to pop. And it's okay if your plan doesn't work to change the plan. There's trust the process, and then there's this isn't working, I'm going to get something else. And both of them are absolutely fine. It is no big deal. But I really wanted this delineation, and I wanted it to be so much darker than the rest of him. And I think this is really, really helping. And we'll clean that up in a little bit, but it's giving us some fuzzy texture, which is great. Pull some right here. It's going to bloom. And maybe just do a couple of little drops of fuzzy texture. get back in our wing here that we completely lost. And this one that we lost. We can always come back and add more. So don't go too crazy the first time. This is a lot easier to add than it is to take away. But I love the way this is spreading out with this slightly damp paper. So it's making me happy. And really, isn't that all that matters, is that I'm happy? Also, it helps because I have the patience of a gnat. So being able to continuously work makes me much happier than if I had to stop and just let everything dry. Because, well, let's be honest, I wouldn't do it. All right. So, let's do my very scientific test. I know it's way too wet down here, but it's not up here. So let's paint in some pink ears and give this little guy some color. So the inside of the ear is pink and this outside edge is pink, but the inside is not. And he's got a little pink headband on that combines them all. But I'm going to avoid that because I think my black's still wet. So I'm going to do these pink ears. And I left a little bit of white in between. Then I'm going to do the center of the ear. And I haven't added any more paint. I'm just using what's on there to get the variation. I'm out of practice with liquid watercolor, so I'm sorry if this isn't completely perfect. I do been using a bunch of different kinds of paint here lately. Okay, so looks like we missed the back of the head right there. Well, we'll just come back in and do it again. I was really worried about messing up the ears, so I had forgotten about the back of the head, but we'll get the back of the head. You have a little back of the head here, little guy. And you decide how many layers of the black that you want to put on. And honestly, because I left that little white spot, I don't think I need the highlight anymore. This is so cute. Okay, and then I'm getting, because I'm crazy and I should just use a pen, but I'm not. I'm taking straight black and just separating out the beak. It's so cute. And it looks like there was some pink in my brush when I was doing the black, and that's okay. It just gives them a little bit more fun. All right, let's do the other ear. So the top side goes up and over. And then it goes all the way down here, but leave a little bit of space for a white highlight. And then let's do the inside of his ears. And because that's bugging me, let's go ahead and get his headband on. Just be careful. Again, black is the most opaque color that we have, so we have to cover things up. It'll be fine. Okay, so now let's paint some fuzzy bunny slippers. Again, we're going to do it just pretty much like we did up here. We're going to just do the pink and kind of fill it in. I don't worry too much about shading. This is just a little penguin. Moving a little bit between the edge of the penguin and the bunny slippers because it's bleeding a little. And I wasn't liking that, but I'm just going to deal. The face stays white because these little bunny slippers have little white circles for faces. Again, use whatever brush you feel the most comfortable with. I am happiest with this small one. I almost wish I had gotten a smaller one, but that is okay. Man, I must have been going crazy with the water earlier today. It's blurring a little. It's okay. We're going to give it a little bit of a pink under the chin right here. And rather than try to do this in paint because I won't be able to, I'm going to put the little face on my bunny slippers with just this black pen. It was an upside down triangle, two little eyeballs, little triangle, little smile, little eyeballs. Then they need whiskers. And I'm going to go ahead and just use the pen to darken in right there and clean up around the ear that's next to it and use the pen to bring in some shading. I don't think it's cheating. If you think it's cheating, okay. And clean this ear up too. Clean up there. And now I'm just using some hatching to add the shading that we kind of lost a little bit. And I'm going to outline the arms or the wings because I want to. And I'm going to outline this eye and outline that one. You can do as much or as little outlining as you want. Sometimes I like to do it and sometimes I don't. But today I was feeling like I lost too much, so I wanted to outline. And that's the beautiful part about a pen. It can do all of this for you. And don't feel like you have to really follow the lines. Kind of makes it more fun when you don't. All right. I think he's done. I think he's really cute. I think he needs an outline here. I think I need to outline those little faces. I mean, we're not going for a realism here. It is a baby penguin, um, dressed in a fuzzy bunny suit. So yeah. Okay, we're done. Let's be done. Let's quit messing with it. Let's take off our tape. This part you want to be pretty careful. If you have a heat gun, like my studio just got really, really cold. Heat gun helps loosen it. But also if you try to pull at a 45-degree angle, then go slow. If you see it tearing, stop. See, I got a little bit of tearing, but it's right here on this edge, so it doesn't matter because these are deckle edges and it looks cool. And try to remember what order you put the tape down in so you can take it off in the same order. So you're not trying to pull off where you've already put things on. Okay. It's just so satisfying to get those edges. I don't know why I took the tape off before I gave him snow. I'm silly. I got really I just moved on too fast. I Patience is really not my strong suit. So I feel like I like the blue, but I want this to be a little bit more defined. Well, that's what my bleed proof white is for. And that's what my big brush is for. So I'm gonna rinse it in the water. We're gonna hope that water is clean. It's clean enough. I'm gonna get some bleed proof white. And I'm gonna just give us little hills and clean up that horizon line. Maybe back in here too. Okay, like that a lot better. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some spatter. So I'm just getting a lot of water and paint on the brush. And then I'm going to hit it with my finger, or hit the brush onto my finger. Hope for smaller spatters than what I'm getting, but that's okay because it looks like snow and it's everywhere. So if you have a computer that you really like, would not recommend doing this right next to the computer. However, if you just have a junky paint table that you do this all the time on, it adds its patina. Anyway, let's stop there before I go too overboard. This one is way too big, so we're gonna suck it up. Okay, so it didn't suck up, but what we're gonna do is turn that into a snowy, it's the moon in the sky, and it's super simple. Like I said, we really just kind of play, and it's supposed to be relaxing. So don't worry about the mistakes. Just turn them into what you want. So now he has a little snow sky thing, and it's super fun. And he is having a blast in his pink fuzzy bunny slippers. And I had so much fun painting this. I hope you had fun painting it or listening to me ramble, whichever you want.